You ever wake up in the morning and feel like you can't move? Like the weight of the world is pressing down on you? Not your legs, not your arms, your spirit. That's burnout. That's the silent enemy that kills dreams before they even start. I've been there. Don't think for a second that I was some machine that never felt tired, never felt broken. I've had mornings where I wanted to stay in bed, mornings where the last thing I wanted to see was another basketball, mornings where I thought, what's the point? But here's the truth, champions don't rise because they never feel burnout. Champions rise because they choose to fight through it. The secret to getting up in the morning when you're burned out is this. You don't wait for motivation. Motivation is a liar. Motivation is a fair weather friend. When you're burned out, motivation doesn't show up. Discipline does. When my body screamed, when my mind whispered, stay down, you've earned it, I had to answer back with one thing. Get up anyway. Not because I felt like it, not because it was easy, but because that's the only way forward. You think I won championships because I loved every workout? You think I broke records because I woke up every day excited? No, I won because I got up on the days I didn't want to. I worked when I felt empty. I pushed when I felt finished. That's what separated me from everyone else. Here's the mindset. When you're burned out, you stop asking yourself, do I feel like it? That question doesn't matter anymore. The only question that matters is, am I willing to pay the price today? Sometimes the price is small, one step out of bed, one glass of water, one rep in the gym. And sometimes the price is huge, pushing through hours of pain, carrying yourself when your energy is gone. But whether the price is small or big, you pay it. And slowly, step by step, you build momentum. You rise out of burnout, not with one giant leap, but with 1,000 tiny wins. Getting up when you don't want to, showing up when you don't feel like it, stacking discipline on discipline until the fire comes back. Because here's the truth, the fire will come back. Burnout is not the end, it's just a test. The question is, will you stay down or will you rise? That's how champions handle burnout. They don't wait for the spark, they create it. And it all begins with one decision every morning, get up anyway. When you're burned out, the mornings hit the hardest. The alarm clock feels heavier than a barbell. The sunlight through the window doesn't inspire you, it mocks you. Your body feels like lead, your mind feels empty, and every part of you screams, stay down. I know that feeling, I've lived it. People look at me and think I woke up every day hungry, every day fired up. That's a myth. I had days where I hated the game. I had days where I hated myself. Days when the thought of practice made me sick. But here's the thing, champions don't run from that feeling. They confront it. They take it head on. When I was burned out, I didn't tell myself it's okay, just rest forever. I told myself, get up, one step, one movement, just get up. Because momentum is the medicine for burnout. You can't think your way out of exhaustion. You can't reason your way out of emptiness. You have to move your way out. Action first, feelings later. That's a trick I learned. Don't chase the feeling, chase the action. Because when you act, the feelings follow. You don't wait until you feel like moving. You move until you feel alive again. I remember dragging myself into the gym on mornings when I felt dead inside. First shot brick, second shot airball, third shot off the rim. And I thought, why am I even here? But then I kept shooting. 10 shots, 20-50. Sweat started dripping. Muscles started waking up. And somewhere between the 100th and 1,000th shot, the fire came back. Not because I waited for it, because I created it. That's what burnout teaches you. Discipline is greater than motivation. Obsession is greater than comfort. The body will lie to you. The mind will betray you. But action tells the truth. You don't need to conquer the whole day when you're burned out. You just need to conquer the morning. You just need to win the first battle. Get out of bed, put your feet on the floor, and move. That one small victory sets the tone. That one act of defiance against your exhaustion builds the momentum you need. Burnout whispers, you're done. Champions answer, not today. And here's the beauty, every time you rise when you don't want to, you're building something stronger than skill, stronger than talent. You're building will, and willpower, once trained, will carry you further than anything else. So when burnout knocks on your door in the morning, don't negotiate, don't make excuses, don't wait for inspiration. Stand up, move forward, create the spark. Because champions aren't the ones who never get tired. Champions are the ones who rise tired and still move anyway. Burnout isn't just about being tired, it's about being empty. It's when the game you once loved feels like a weight chained to your chest. It's when the passion that used to drive you turns into pressure that drowns you. I've felt that emptiness after losses, after criticism, after years of carrying the weight of expectation. People thought I lived for the spotlight, but what they don't know is how heavy it felt sometimes, how many mornings I didn't want to face it. But here's the lesson I learned. You don't wait for passion to rescue you. You fight your way back to it. And the way you fight is simple. You return to the basics. Strip it all down. Don't think about trophies. Don't think about rings. Don't think about pleasing the crowd. Think about one thing. Why did you start? For me, it was the sound of the ball hitting the hardwood, the rhythm of the net snapping after a clean shot, that childlike joy of playing the game. When burnout came, I forced myself to remember that feeling. I reminded myself, this is who you are, this is what you love. And maybe for you, it's not basketball, maybe it's writing, maybe it's running, maybe it's building something with your hands. Whatever it is, go back to the root, back to the beginning, back to the purest part of it. Burnout tries to blind you with exhaustion, but the secret to beating it is clarity. Clarity about your why, clarity about your purpose. I can't count how many mornings I asked myself, why am I doing this? And every time the answer was the same, because this is what I was born to do, because this is who I am. That answer pulled me out of bed when nothing else could. You see, burnout tricks you into thinking it's the end, but in reality, it's a test. It's the universe asking, how bad do you want this? How deep is your love for this? How far are you willing to go? Most people quit at that point. They let burnout define them. But champions use burnout as fuel. They use the emptiness to rebuild themselves stronger, sharper, hungrier. Every morning you rise against burnout. You're proving something, not to the world, but to yourself. You're proving you're bigger than your feelings. You're proving your purpose is stronger than your pain. So when the alarm goes off and your body says no, when your spirit feels heavy and your fire feels gone, I want you to remember this: burnout is not a signal to stop. It's a signal to dig deeper. And if you're willing to answer that call, you won't just get up. You'll rise higher than you ever have before. You know what burnout really does? It exposes you. It shows you whether you've been relying on feelings or if you've built yourself on discipline. Because anybody can get up when they're excited. Anybody can work when they're inspired. But when you're empty, when the tank is dry, when the fire is gone, that's when you see who's real. I had teammates who shined when the cameras were on, when the energy was high, when the game was fun. But when we were down by 20, when the season got long, when the body was bruised and the spirit was heavy, they disappeared. That's not championship DNA, that's comfort DNA. Me, I refused to disappear. I refused to let burnout dictate my life. And the way I did it was simple. I broke the morning down into battles I could win. First battle, get out of bed. Doesn't matter how I felt, doesn't matter what excuse my mind made. I stood up. Second battle, show up. Step into the gym, step onto the court, step into the place where the work gets done. Third battle, do one thing, one drill, one shot, one rep, just enough to move forward. And you know what happens when you win those battles? Momentum takes over. One win stacks on another. Suddenly the day isn't impossible anymore. Suddenly you're moving, sweating, building, becoming again. Burnout wants you to think you're powerless. But the truth is, you've never been more powerful. Because when you rise against burnout, you're training the strongest muscle you've got, your will. And here's something people don't understand. Willpower is not something you're born with. It's something you build. Every morning you fight through exhaustion. Every time you silence excuses, every time you rise when you don't want to, you're forging willpower like steel. And once it's forged, nothing can break it. That's why burnout is not your enemy, it's your opportunity. It's the fire that tempers your steel. It's the storm that proves your foundation. Most people run from burnout. They hide, they quit, but champions don't run. They rise. They rise tired, they rise empty, they rise broken, but they rise, and every time they do, they become unshakable. So the next time you wake up heavy, the next time the bed feels like chains, the next time your spirit says stay down, remember this: you don't have to feel ready. You just have to move. You just have to win the first battle. Because when you rise in burnout, you don't just beat the day, you beat yourself, you beat the weaker version of you, and that's how champions are born. Listen to me. Burnout is not the end. It feels like the end, it whispers like the end, but it's not. It's the beginning of a different level of you. You want to know how to rise when you're burned out? Stop chasing perfection. Stop waiting to feel amazing. Stop expecting the fire to burn every morning. That's fantasy. Champions don't live in fantasy, they live in reality. And reality says this: some mornings you'll hate the work, some mornings you'll hate yourself, some mornings you'll feel empty, but you rise anyway. That's the secret, rise anyway. When I look back at my career, the moments that defined me weren't the slam dunks, weren't the game winners, weren't the parades. The moments that defined me were the mornings I rose when nobody saw. The mornings when my body begged for rest, but I chose discipline. The mornings when the fire was gone, but I chose obsession. And every single one of those mornings built me into a man who could stand in the spotlight and deliver. The world only saw the glory because I lived through the grind. So if you're burned out right now, if you're staring at the ceiling wondering how you're going to face another day, I'm talking directly to you. Don't quit. Don't give in. Don't let that feeling own you. Stand up, put your feet on the ground, win the first battle. Because here's the truth, you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be limitless. You don't need to be superhuman. You just need to keep rising. Again and again and again. Champions are not made of endless energy. They're made of relentless will. They're made of mornings where they rose broken but rose anyway. And if you can do that, if you can rise when you're burned out, if you can push when you're empty, if you can choose discipline over comfort, even when it hurts, you will not just survive burnout. You will transform through it. Burnout is not the enemy. Burnout is the forge. It's the fire that strips away weakness and leaves only strength. So tomorrow morning, when the alarm hits, when the weight feels unbearable, I want you to remember my words: champions rise anyway. And if you rise enough times, if you refuse to quit, if you keep fighting through every heavy morning, you won't just come back. You'll come back stronger. You'll come back unshakable. You'll come back a champion.